Welcome to our deep dive into how ISO 31000 and ISO 27001 work together to defend your business. Think of ISO 31000 as the strategic brain of risk management, guiding decisions on what risks to avoid, reduce, share, or retain. ISO 27001, on the other hand, acts as the shield, translating those decisions into concrete cybersecurity controls like firewalls, encryption, and access policies. By the end of the video, you will see how these two standards combine strategic governance with technical execution to build a resilient, risk-aware organization. Let's start with the core differences. ISO 31000 is a universal framework applicable to all types of risks: financial, operational, reputational, or strategic. It answers the question, what should we do, by guiding organizations to avoid, reduce, share, or retain risks. For example, a company might decide to avoid partnering with an unreliable supplier or retain currency fluctuation risk after analysis. ISO 27001, however, is laser focused on information security. It answers, how do we do it? Through over 100 prescriptive controls, like restricting user access or deploying firewalls. While ISO 31000 is not certifiable, ISO 27001 requires rigorous audits for compliance. Their risk equations also differ. ISO 31000 calculates risk as likelihood multiplied by impact, while ISO 27001 factors in threats and vulnerabilities. Together, they cover the full spectrum of risk management, strategy, and execution. ISO 31000's risk treatment strategies go beyond the core four: avoid, reduce, share, retain, to include practical extensions like terminate, treat, transfer, and tolerate. For instance, avoid means eliminating risks before they exist, like cancelling a project with untrustworthy partners. Terminate, its extension, means stopping an ongoing risk, such as shutting down a faulty production line. Similarly, reduce focuses on lowering risk likelihood, like safety training for employees, while treat involves active mitigation, such as budget reserves for cost overruns. These strategies are not theoretical, they are actionable. For example, transfer shifts liability entirely, like purchasing insurance, while share allocates risk collaboratively, like a joint venture. Retain is a proactive choice, like self-insuring minor losses, whereas tolerate is passive acceptance of trivial risks, like ignoring minor IT downtime. These distinctions ensure organizations can tailor risk responses to their unique needs. Now, how does ISO 27001 put these strategies into practice? Let's look at the crosswalk. If ISO 31000 advises avoiding a risk, ISO 27001 enforces it by removing vulnerable software features during development, as outlined in secure development policies. To terminate a risk, like outdated infrastructure, ISO 27001 mandates decommissioning legacy systems under asset management standards. Reducing risk might mean limiting user access rights, while treating risk could involve deploying firewalls. Transferring financial liability. ISO 27001 ensures cyber insurance aligns with supplier agreements. Even retaining or tolerating risk has a place. Accepting minor downtime for non-critical systems or ignoring low-impact vulnerabilities. This synergy turns high-level strategy into tactical action. Let's get practical. Imagine a company facing legacy system risks. Using ISO 31000's Terminate strategy, they decommission outdated servers, a move enforced by ISO 27001's asset management protocols. To transfer liability, they purchase cyber insurance, complying with supplier requirements. For avoidance, they remove vulnerable features during software design, following secure development guidelines. Even tolerating minor risk is a systematic. Non-critical software updates might be ignored under vulnerability management standards. These are not hypotheticals. A regional hospital, for example, used ISO 31000 to avoid legacy software and transfer risk via insurance, while ISO 27001 enforced multi-factor authentication and vendor audits. The result, an 80% drop in breaches and $2 million saved in potential ransomware payouts. Why is ISO 27001 certifiable but not ISO 31000? Because ISO 27001's framework provides measurable controls, firewalls, access policies, incident management that auditors can validate. ISO 31000, however, offers flexible guidance, not prescriptive rules. But their integration is where the magic happens. ISO 31000's strategic governance prioritizes risks, while ISO 27001's technical rigor secures them. Take the healthcare case. ISO 31000 guided the hospital to avoid legacy systems and transfer liability, while ISO 27001 executed access controls and vendor audits. Together, they created a risk ecosystem that both thoughtful and enforceable, proving that strategy without execution is powerless and execution without strategy is directionless. In closing, ISO 31000 and ISO 27001 are two sides of the same coin. The brain and the shield analogy is not just catchy, it's critical. ISO 31000's strategies ensure risks are identified and prioritized. ISO 27001's controls ensure they are mitigated. The healthcare case study shows this in action. Avoiding legacy risks, transferring liability, and enforcing technical safeguards led to $2 million in savings and restored trust. Whether you are a hospital, a fintech firm, or a manufacturer, this synergy is your blueprint for resilience. Ready to dive deeper? Subscribe for more insights into mastering risk management. Thank you for watching.